All right, big fight coming up this weekend. Manny Pacquiao taking on Keith Thurman, and who better to break it down for us than the main man himself, Mike Achota, joining us from the Philippines. Mike, you're usually there commentating, not for you this time. Disappointed to be missing
Right.
out?
Well, a little bit. It's an exciting fight, and Manny being 40 years old, coming into a new phase in his life, it's an interesting fight. This is the first time since 2012 that I'm not watching this fight live.
The press conference just came out today, the footage. Manny is humble as ever. Thurman's not really pulling any punches in the lead up. He's not showing a huge amount of respect, and he talks about relishing the opportunity to punch a senator in the face.
Well, that's Keith. He started out day one when they announced the fight. He already started well, let's put it in quotation marks, attack on Manny. I think it's just motivational for himself more than anything else, and that's his character. He's always been the guy who would talk a lot. But if you really listen to Keith, he does make sense. If you really think about it, it's not all air. He talks about what he needs to do. He talks about what the weaknesses are, at least his perception of what weaknesses Manny brings to the ring, and he talks about it intelligently. So if you just take away the bravado, you will know that Keith is talking sense.
Yeah, interesting though. So if we're to come down to it, the 40-year-old Pacquiao coming off a really impressive victory over Bronner
Yes.
versus the much younger Thurman. Initially, who are you favoring?
Well, because I'm very close to Manny's training, and I'm not talking about just himself, but I've seen how he trains. I think Manny comes in really with an advantage. He's now fighting more intelligently as a 40-year-old, knowing what his weaknesses are, what he can and what he cannot do. I think which is more important, the latter one. So I think Manny comes in with an advantage of experience, and really the motivation is it's a new chapter in his life, Andy. It's not the old Manny, it's a new Manny. At 40 years old, there are only a few other fighters who actually have succeeded at over age of 40. And I think that's what he wants to have going into this fight against Keith Thurman. So he does have the advantage in terms of experience and intelligence. However, Keith comes in clearly with the youth advantage.
How do you think over the years, like you say, the new Manny, how technically has he tapered his style to suit what is a 40-year-old body, albeit a very impressive one at that? I was there in KL
Right.
for the Matisse fight, and he looked
Yes.
stunning. He looked like a 30-year-old man. I think a lot of people were talking about how good he looked
Right.
in that. How has he adapted that style to suit his age?
Well, I think you have to have a correct point of view. The man is 40 years old. By himself, he's already at that age. To say that he fights like a 30-year-old is now relative. You know what I'm saying? By himself, if you watch him, he moves like a very strong 40-year-old. So that's the perspective that I usually take. I'm not going to say that he comes in as a 25-year-old. So he moves like a 40-year-old. But because he knows that, he comes in with a little bit of, he's wary. He's more wary now. He paces himself better. He doesn't come in with wild abandon. He knows when he needs to come in and what punches to throw. So he's more, how do you say it? He's planning things better now than before, where he was only relying on his skill and his youth. So now he comes in with that. So I think he's looking at maybe a short fight if he can, but he's also planning for a long fight wherein he can actually think and plan the 12 rounds more than just coming in for a knockout.